Hi, this is Sally Shaver DuBois from DoLifeWellNow.com. I have a lot of people who ask me, what's all this crossing the midline and how does that help your brain? Well, first of all, let's just define what is your midline. It's an imaginary line, kind of like where your zipper would be, going up and down your body vertically. Now, your right side is over here and your left side's over here. And it's important that we cross back and forth, which I'm going to get to in just a minute, because we have some activities where you have to do a bilateral movement, meaning you're not crossing that midline. But there's a lot of things in life that we do where you actually have to cross over that midline. Now, what does crossing the midline do? It actually can do a lot of things. First of all, these purposeful movements can help the blood to get flowing from the right side to the left side and the left side to the right side of the brain. It helps those synaptic connections in your brain fire. Now, you know you have a lot of electricity inside of your body, and in your brain you have all kinds of firing that's going on up there. And so when you can cross that midline, it helps that to develop, and you will eventually, if you practice and practice, you get better and better at that activity. You have something in the top of right in the middle of your head called the Corpus Callosum. And the Corpus Callosum is kind of like the superhighway of your brain. So the superhighway of the brain, when you cross the midline, you're making those connections back and forth through that Corpus Callosum, and those firings, again, like I said, they will help you with things that you need to do that cross the midline. So what could you do then to cross the midline? Well, things like sports that you might do. You might be playing basketball, you might be swimming, and you might say, well, I'm not really into sports, but you can do musical activities. Playing the piano goes back and forth, crossing your midline, as do a lot of other kinds of musical activities. The other thing is that when you cross the midline, you actually help the brain to release that dopamine. And dopamine is that happy hormone that we like that helps us feel good. And so whenever we're crossing the midline, especially when we're repeating it over and over and over, we help to release that dopamine inside of us, and really could help us feel a little bit better about ourselves and feel happier. It also can increase motivation and attention and self-control for kids and for grown-ups. It energizes us. It gets us going. So if you're sitting at your desk all day and you're feeling really tired, or you see the kids in your classroom starting to doze off a little bit, that means it's time to get up and stimulate that brain. And one of the ways you can do that is by crossing your midline. Many of the brain-based tips that I'm going to be showing you in videos to come will have some ideas for you to get you crossing the midline, as well as other ideas for helping your brain to stay energized and engaged, whether you're at work or you're at school. And finally, crossing the midline helps all of us with developing those eye muscles and keeping those in shape. Now, with little kids, they have to have these eye muscles ready and get them ready before they can really learn to read. And so many little kids these days, and grown-ups, are on screens. We're watching TV, we're on our computers, we're on tablets, we're on phones, and that's a two-dimensional activity. When we can get the children away from the screens and adults away from the screens and get back in this 3D world and help them focus on something besides a two-dimensional, that will help their eye muscles. We can help those eye muscles develop by just crossing the midline and watching things. Some of the brain gym activities that I will be showing you will help you with that, as well as getting out some props like streamers and scarves. All of those things help us track, and when we're tracking, we're developing the eye muscles. So I hope this helps explain a little bit why cross-lateral activities are important. Those crossing midline are important for the brain. This is Sally Shaver DuBois at DoLifeWellNow.com.